Welcome to the Unearthed Man Podcast, the journey to becoming a conscious man. Hey all, Stephen here, and welcome to episode 72 of the Unearthed Man Podcast. Now, I love the energy Tim brought to the podcast chat last week. His journey also intrigued me because he achieved enlightenment at a young age. As he alluded, though, this was not necessarily a blessing for him. And I hope then if you go through and listen to the rest of the episode, you'll actually see what we mean when I say that. In the week leading up to recording this podcast, I've been feeling a bit under the weather. Now, I know I've had a lot on lately. This was a sign for my body to tell me to slow down. Now, this is off the back of an 8-week liver cleanse, a deep breathwork session where I had a lot of stored emotion come to the surface, and when I was out camping at a festival for a weekend. Now, in thinking about my best approach to dealing with my symptoms, I was reminded of how the traditional owners of this land would have dealt with the same situation. Now, for thousands of years, before commercialized Western medicine kicked in, Indigenous tribes always would refer to their medicine women and men who would revert to natural, plant-based medicines. Despite what we have been led to believe, Indigenous peoples lived long, healthy lives. It's only since colonization and the introduction of Western illnesses and medicines has their health and lifespans declined. Based on that, I have reverted to using natural remedies, giving myself plenty of rest and allowing the cold to pass through at its own pace. I'll come out better by listening to my body and the ancient traditions. Now, on this point, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of this unceded land and pay respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. Now, shout out to our sponsor, Surf Coast Wellness Rooms, based in Torquay, Victoria, Australia. As men, we spend much time looking after and caring for others, and very little time on self-care. So now you have an opportunity to change all that. Using the code THEUnearthedMan10 when booking, you'll receive a 10% discount on any of their services, including float tanks, infrared saunas, massages, and salt therapy. It's great to use before or after a day at the beach, and you can find a link to their website and the code below. Before we start with today's guest, here are a few things to mention. First, the Unearthed Men community comprises men willing to support and be supported by other men, and it continues to grow. So if you're a man or know of a man who's seeking his tribe or his community, then please use the link in the show notes below to sign up. Alternatively, you can message me via any of my social media channels. Secondly, please subscribe to the podcast via your preferred app and leave a review. The quickest way to enable the podcast to become more accessible worldwide is to receive a 5-star review. By doing this, you also acknowledge and thank my guests for their time, effort, and wisdom. And then finally, if you're a man who has had enough of feeling angry, having arguments with your partner and children, and reverting to ways of avoiding the pain of dealing with your emotions, then reach out so we can have a chat. Expressions of interest for my 8-week men's empowerment program are now open. Now, I'm only taking 10 men into each 8-week program this year. So if you're interested, click the link below to join the waitlist as it's filling fast. Now, onto today's episode. So success isn't always what it seems from the outside. Today's guest speaks from experience. He found success very young. He was living in one of the most beautiful places on earth, and from the outside, everything looked perfect. But something was always missing. Surrounded by material success, with everything in place by usual standards, he was dissatisfied, and nothing seemed to fill the emptiness. He never felt whole, no matter how much money or success he had. Over time, this feeling got worse, never better, no matter what he did. So almost 30 years ago, he was so miserable that he walked out the door to change his life and has never looked back. Before starting his spiritual transformation path, his life was out of control. Dysfunction completely controlled his life, and he made decisions based on who he wasn't. He was walking through life blindfolded. He's not blindfolded any longer. He has cracked the code with nearly 30 years research, investigation, and experimentation. He found the answers that allow anyone to live life with passion, purpose, and prosperity. The information he discovered is so powerful that it creates a foolproof blueprint that guarantees success. So welcome to the Unearthed Man Podcast, Bill Heinrich. G'day, Bill. How are you?
Good day. Thank you very much for having me. Wonderful to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on. When we started to connect, and I was actually listening through to what you're actually talking about, this world of constantly filling up with material items in the sense of trying to achieve happiness, and then always just finding this void and finding this void. It's actually not an uncommon story. I know I've worked, one of my coaches I worked with, he was based in the UK, sold a business for a couple of £100 million, and thought this has got to be it. Life's going to be fantastic. And then just got to the point where it's like, what's the purpose of life? What am I doing here? I've got all this money. I've got a beautiful family, my beautiful wife, my beautiful house. And similar to you, he just had this sense of just innate emptiness that's set inside him. So let's go back and have a bit of a chat about, maybe what that looked like for you 30 odd years back. Like, what was that success, and what was all the material items, and, what was life for you before you found, this path of happiness?
Well, life was just crazy. It was chaotic. It was full of judgment, blame, shame, and guilt. It was full of never having enough, no matter how much you had, no matter how much I won, not being able to hang on to success. Just so many different things. And ever since I was young, I heard you mention this other guest you had on last week, and I too have a phenomenal amount of innate wisdom. And as a child, like, I saw the way people live life, and it was like, I knew it wasn't right, but everybody did it. And I was in a very staunch religious family, and the whole thing. And it was like, I just gave up, like in the fifth grade, and just said, life didn't make sense to me. I couldn't make any sense of it at all. Just no sense. And I was, of course, being brought up in Catholic religion. I was pretty much doomed from being a really young person. And, I just figured, well, if I'm going to go to hell, I'm going to have fun on the way there. And I just gave up, literally, in the fifth grade, repeated the seventh grade. I mean, then when I got out, went to work, and then found this business I bought at a very young age. Was just, just kind of lucky and extremely intuitive. I'm so intuitive, it's crazy. And it's fascinating how intuition helped me survive, yet kept me totally confused during all that time. And it just got to the point where everything in life was turning to a mess. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I literally walked out of the house and said, I'm so effing miserable, I can't stand it, and I've got to go find out why. And I walked out the door and was committed to find the answer. And that was 30 years ago. And I'm still researching, still looking into it. But I found the answer. I can show anyone how to live with extreme happiness. I guarantee my results. I give 100% guarantee, right? Because people just need to go through the process of learning how we live in two dimensions, and how what's happening in the physical dimension doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's what's happening in the inner game. It's what's happening in energy, and what energy you're made of. We all have 7 energies that go through our chakras. We have the same 7 energies, but we have them in different proportions. And these energies determine who you are. Like, this is who you are being, is this energy. When you're not familiar with the energies, then the energies come out in ways that for which they weren't intended. Okay. And when you take that, Stephen, with, when we're born, we're also born with life lessons. There's 38 different life lesson paths. And each of those paths has millions of combinations. And there's a way I've broken it down. It's really simple. I do blueprints for people. They really get to see and feel who they are. The moment they feel who they are, the moment they understand their energy, then their life changes instantly. Instantly changes. And I say I can change anybody's life in 60 minutes, literally, because when you understand the energetic quotient and portion of your life, then you understand who you're really being.
Mm.
Because what you see in the mirror is an illusion. It's only about who you're being. And the day that we die, only the energy is leaving. The milk carton will stay here. What you see in the mirror is staying behind. And when one starts to understand how life works from this energetic side, you can just do anything you desire. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so much for us now to talk about, Bill, just based on that conversation. So much to talk about, but also it's interesting, and this is what I love getting guests on. And for the people that know, like Bill and I connected again via Podmatch, which is just a version of an online dating tool for podcast hosts and podcast guests. But it's amazing on when we talk about energy, how the universe for me actually works. And so, it's not Bill and I were called together to meet on this platform so he and I could sit down and have a conversation. And so, and there's reasons behind that. So when Bill talks about energy, I'm the same thing, right? I mean, Bill and I have tapped into the same energy force that actually said, hey, it makes sense for us to connect and have this conversation. And the reason why I say that, Bill, is, I grew up very similar, in a non-emotional family, very strict in the Catholic religion, going to a Catholic school, following, by the bouncing ball. And I know the same. Like, it's interesting. You would go to the confessional and I would actually make stuff up in the confessional just so I had something to actually, tell someone so they could tell me I was a bad person. It's like, well, you do know I'm actually making stuff up here. So I'm actually doubling down on the badness type of thing. And I always joked around as being confessionals as being equivalent of the material credit card, the emotional credit card, right? You can go and spend all you wanted in that week. And at the end of the day, you actually walk in the confessional
like that.
and then this priest would just go through and swipe out and clean out your credit card for you. Excellent. I'm back to zero. I can go and spend on my credit card again next week. My bad credit card, my sin credit card, my platinum credit card. And and I think there's a number of people who've sort of gone down this path. And I know you've got your methodology, but I walked out quite cynical myself. I knew that there was something else out there and had to be, but I got confined into this externalization of chasing things. So for me, it was like, how do I go and make more money? How do I actually, get into more, relationships with different women? How do I play out this sexually? How do I play out this, sports wise? How do I actually go and become more competitive and everything else? Because somewhere out there was a mountain that had the happiness at the top of it. And if I could find a way to climb that mountain, then I would find that happiness. All you did was that, you got to the top of the mountain and you had a sense of achievement, but not necessarily that sense of internal happiness, because then you found you had to go and find another mountain to race off to, and whereas I'm now, I'm more very open to tapping into. So, like whether it be life design, whether it be numerology, whether it be astrology, all these ancient practices and principles that really go back to at the time you were born, you had a predefined model design for your life. As you talked it, there's like the 38 pieces and there's the energy thing. So, let's talk a little bit about, your version of what you talk about energy, because you've talked about our milk container, our physical container, and then there's this energetic self. So can we talk a bit deeper about this energetic body that we are?
Sure. Let's do it scientifically. Okay. And that is, it's proven E equals MC squared. Everything in the universe is a vibration. Everything's a vibration. So the mistake that gets made is when we're born, everybody influences us to look at survival in the physical. And spiritual survival is secondary. That happens on Sunday. Right? Everything else is about in the physical. It's about achieving. It's about accomplishing. It's about getting more. Hard work, blood, sweat, do it, fit into society, social policing, all of that. But the truth of the matter is, it's an energetic equation, because the universe runs everything. Everything in the universe is a vibration. Now, science and scientists will tell you very clearly they understand Earth and they understand what's happening on Earth because they've had the capacity to get outside and go around Earth. They've been able to study it, right? But they can't do that with the universe because they're on the inside looking out. They can't get outside the universe. The universe is just constantly in expansion. Well, when you look at how the universe operates, organic expansion, organic vibration, that's how it runs. It runs and controls everything on Earth, everything in your life. And so when you look at who you are energetically, and the fact that when you leave Earth, your energy's leaving, but your physical container doesn't leave. Just your energy. That's how you get to the place of happiness. And frankly, I use extreme happiness, but the truth of the matter is, that's really not true. Because it's really more about contentment. It's more about having a path, having an understanding, having total clarity of who you are, what you're being, who you're supposed to be, and just go be it. And life is just smooth and beautiful, and you can really connect. But when you connect, you have to look at it as a vibration, because, and this is the thing that men need to understand, vibration means, how do you feel? Now, and is this feeling generated authentically from inside you, from your heart, so to speak? Or are you generating it intellectually, which only has concepts and no substance? Where authentically, it's all substance and no concept. It's substance and manifestation is what happens when you generate it authentically. So understanding how you feel and understanding your energetic DNA, so to speak, is so critical, because these are the things, this is who you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to show up in this world. Not all this bullshit about buy this and you got to do this and you got to go on that trip and have this job. And, it's that, there's a saying, people will never remember what you said, but they're always going to remember how you made them feel.
Spot on.
And feeling is the answer. So that's what it's about. And when one looks at feelings, then you must immediately look at stories inside you, because you can't have a feeling without a story. You can't have emotions without a story. It's impossible. So let me back up again. If I get too deeper, you can just stop me at any time. Okay.
You just keep rolling, Bill. I'm loving it.
Okay. Let's look at it this way. We live in what I call a non-physical world, a metaphysical world, which is the universe and a vibration. And then we live in a physical world. The physical world is your reality. It's what you see, but none of it's true. It's all made up. It's all a perception of your past. That's what you're projecting out there. You're using your limited knowledge to figure out what you're looking at. So you're in trouble right away, because the boundaries of our ignorance are so tight, Stephen. It's absurd, right? I mean, we're just so stupid. It's crazy. And the sooner you can admit it, the better off you'll be, because the boundaries are just so much in expansion. Now, you can tap into all of that expansion energetically with no knowledge. You can do it with your vibration. So when you look at it, then the vibration, there's only two emotions. That's it. There's only two. There's love and there's fear. That's it. Everything stems from those two.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
Okay. Love comes from your heart. Love in your heart is the catalyst in the non-physical and the universal vibration, universal wisdom. That's how you connect over there. With love, the more you give, the more you get. It's really simple. Fear can only be found in your physical life, in what your head makes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to go to the non-physical and generate fear. You can't do it. It's impossible. You can only generate fear with your ego and your mind protecting you based on past experiences.
Yep.
It's the only way you can generate fear. And fear has two very, very distinct characteristics about it that are very interesting. Number one, fear cannot come to the present moment. You cannot be in fear in the present moment. It's not possible. Because to get to fear, you have to go to the past or the future.
Mm-hmm.
You have to leave where you're at and go there to generate this false evidence appearing real. And the other thing that's fascinating about fear is love and fear can't coexist in the same space. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
Fear knocked on the door, love answered, but no one was there. They can't cohabitate.
Yep.
So if you're looking at your life and how can my life be better, just start with understanding that. Now you say, oh, you come from love, that's mushy gushy. No, it isn't. It's about being in service for the benefit of all involved. That's what love really is. That's all it is. You see, people don't understand love. I mean, we're all so screwed up, myself included. I mean, really. Like I've been studying this and have pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of accept that, and you've got to also accept that your life is out of control. Period. Your life is completely out of control. So if you can go there, then you can really go to expansion, because then you can let go of expectations, you can let go of other things, and you can look at it on a more authentic basis, right? Because when we talk about love, you can't describe it.
That's right.
Love cannot be described. It can't be described. It's that simple, because you don't know how it's going to show up.
Yes.
The way people look at love, they look at it from the intellectual side. This is the basis and foundation of love and relationships. And you can see what the percentages of success are there using the intellect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the facts are there, and you go in and it's this intellectual feeding yourself desires that you have inside instead of allowing the desires to speak for themselves. It would all change. And it crumbles, because it's built on sand. The intellect is built on sand. The intellect is so limited, so limited. And there's always somebody that's going to know more. And there's so many other exciting things to know when you get into vibration, because then you start to know truth. And the only truth, there's only one thing in our lives, Stephen, that's true. There's only one thing, and that's how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is made up. It's all a projection of our past.
Yep.
Even the story of why you feel that way is true. It would be embellished, but how you feel is true. And when one can start looking at how they feel and why they feel bad, why they get upset, where some of the inhibition, where these other things come from, and you start looking at it. And when you look at it from a vibration, there's no logic involved in it. It's just a vibration.
Mm.
Vibrations don't lie. Vibrations are vibrations. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And when when I just got this whole mess cleaned up for a client and his son, where his son wasn't performing properly in the business. And it was a really bad situation, And I pointed out to him, I said, the problem here isn't your business or your son. The problem is your son's blind spot, because we all have blind spots. His blind spot in this is so massive. It's so massive that he has no idea where he is or what the hell is going on, right?
Mm.
And my client was like, I can't even imagine. I said, I'm telling you, because his behavior is either that or it's sabotage. But if the behavior is sabotaged, then there's energy, vibration that goes with sabotage that we can track and see.
Mm.
And one of the vibrations is F you, I mean, it's just, I don't, right? I mean, There's just, these things are going to show up with sabotage. None of that was there. And I finally got his son to the point where I could get him in a meeting. And his son sat there and he was like, as I was talking, he says, you've been talking to me 15 minutes. You're saying my name. But other than that, I don't identify with anything you're saying at all. That's how bad this blind spot was.
Mm.
And then I showed him, I said, well, let's look at the behavior. Here's the facts. You're supposed to be doing this. You didn't do this. This wasn't taken care of. Is that correct? He said, yeah, that's correct. I said, okay. We don't care about that. Here's what I care about is how out of integrity you are with what you've committed to.
Mm-hmm.
You made a commitment that you're not living up to. You're out of integrity. Now, and this has been going on for a while. It was very serious. I said, now, let's take that same behavior and put you in a different industry. Let's apply some of these. And we went through I said, if you're in the fast food industry, you're standing there saying, yeah, well, if you want food, I don't know, jump over the counter and get it yourself. I'm not giving it to you.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you're not going to be in that job very long, And we looked at some of how it would play out. And he said, you're right. I said, now let's look at how it would play out if it was in your marriage. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, you'd be out cheating and fooling around on your wife.
Mm.
Do you see how the energy of this? And he really finally got the seriousness where he could really see, like I was right. We could track the energy of it. And he was like, whoa. I said, so I'm not concerned about straightening out this piece in the business with you and your dad. That gets taken care of. I'm concerned about saving your life.
Yes.
Because you have this huge, and we all have these blind spots, Stephen. You had this huge blind spot, and it took me speaking, and it was in a group session with some other people, and the other people agreeing, where he was sitting there going, wow, everybody's like, and he trusts everybody,
Yeah.
So it can be so egregious. This is what causes us. We just don't understand who we are. We get fixated on the whole material game, when in fact it's the game of energy.
It is.
That it takes you on a trip that's just crazy wild. The stuff you can do, it's so much fun. And the truth of the matter is, whatever is going to show up in our physical life, it's going to show up anyway.
Mm.
We can just enhance it. There's something that I say, there's only one thing wrong with the universe. Just one thing. That's it.
What's that?
Your perception of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing wrong with it.
Yep. Correct. Yeah, there's a couple of things you've said in there, and just to sort of to roll through on that, like, there is a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, which talks to the blind spot, which helps people understand that, they may not say, and as you said, you've shown some great examples of that guy that, let's take that thing and let's apply it across all these other things. How's it showing up in your marriage? How's it showing up in your business? How's it show up with your kids? How's it show up with your friends? And then because what they can't see is that they're only locked into this one thing that they think they're doing. But when you start to apply that same thing and you start to say, right, so you turn up late to a meeting, right? Let's have a look over here. Do you basically turn up late to have dinner with your wife? Do you not do this? Do you not do this? Do you turn up late to your kids' school events? You can so can you start to see this regular pattern happening in your life? So that's the one thing that you might have ignored here, but it's actually happening everywhere. Like you're pissing all these people off, not just this person at work. And so
and let's just look at the vibration of it.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to that. So the second part of that then is that not only that is that then what happens is that in the world of vibration comes into the world of law of attraction. So the vibration you put out is actually what is going to then come back to you. So not only have you got this same behavior pattern physically or emotionally or what's happening, is that then you start going, why does this always happen to me? I end up being in the victim state because they're going, this is really bizarre. Like my fridge breaks down and then my car breaks down and then this breaks down and then, then I lose money at work and I've lost a client. They're going, why is all these things happening? It's like, because let's take a step back. How you do anything is how you do everything. You're creating a set of vibrations as you're doing those activities. And in the law of attraction with vibration and energy, what you put out, the universe will come back and reward you with.
Like attracts like. It's real simple.
That's right. It'll come out there and say, here's what's actually going to happen. And,
in fact, in this case where he was out of integrity, he made mention of how some of these deals aren't going through. The paperwork isn't going through. And of course it isn't, because you're not taking care of the little ones.
That's right. Correct. That's right.
The energy is not there.
That's right. And the other thing, as you've talked through there, is that, in my program, one of the things that I constantly reiterate through nearly every module that I run through my program is, plain and simple. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions create feelings. Feelings create vibrations. And so therefore, as you said, if our thoughts are predetermined by our belief systems and our conditioning systems and how we've been brought up, I was always, if you're in a place of, I was always brought up with no money and my parents never had no money. And then all of a sudden you find that you're always struggling with money. It's because you're bringing this past thought system that you thought, what you thought was a set of conditions, but the reality is you're now creating those conditions in your life. All of a sudden I keep telling people you get $5,000 in your bank account. Next thing, the transmission blows up in your car. Because you need to create that condition of scarcity, of not having enough money, so the universe will create ideas for it to come in it. And if you start to be able to, you've got to change, recognize is the first piece for me. You have to.
Well, you have to create awareness.
You have to stop, correct, and go back and go, aha, I see what is actually happening out there. AJ, I was speaking with a close friend of mine yesterday, and I'm like, hey, how you going? What's going on, mate? How's your kids going? And he goes, my daughter who's at university now, he's like, oh, yeah, he's about to go and do an exchange over in Ireland. He goes, yeah, all that's going to mean is just, more money coming out of my back pocket type of thing. And he's this guy who's probably got hundreds of $1,000s in the bank and he owns his house and like he's just always run from, this probably has lots of money, but a scarcity mindset. And I love him. He's a beautiful guy. And I just said to him, I said, money's just energy, man. Like money's just nothing. It's just, he goes, oh, yeah, but it runs out of your pocket as quick as it comes in. And, there's, it's hard to keep up with how much going out with what's coming in. I said, well, not really, because that's your mindset, right?
Right.
Yeah. Whereas
where your energy goes, you go.
One of my major transformations in this world of living in energy and vibration is I just now go, I don't care about money. It'll take care of itself. If there's a situation where it looks like on the material side, my bank account's starting to get low, or there's a risk of me being down the process of, going into major debts or whatever else, I'm like, the universe will see that. It'll see the service I'm providing. All I need to do is keep providing service, keep giving out love, keep doing for others. There's a book, I think it's called A Pocket Full of Money, and I love some of the things there. It's like, it's plain and simple. If I want to have wealth, I help other people become wealthy. If I want to have health, I help other people become healthy. If I want to have love, I help other people learn about love. It's like, if I can do that for others and actually help them get there first, the universe will just look at that and go, hey, we see what you're doing. We acknowledge what you're doing, and we're going to actually help you. And if you surrender to the fact that the universe is going to have your back and is going to support you, and it's actually going to maneuver the chessboard to actually be in a position where it comes up, all of a sudden you go, wow, this money just appeared in my life. These people just appeared in my life. This business opportunity just appeared. It never just appeared. It's a recognition system. And how we tap into that is one of the key things.
It's even more powerful than that because with the universe, all you have to do is create vibration. So you only need to learn to embody the vibration of that which you are creating. So for instance, if what you're creating is, and I'm just going to say you're creating a new home for yourself. You have to embody that home, how it's going to feel to be in it, how it's going to feel to stand on the deck, look at the ocean, how it's going to feel to be in the kitchen, you embody, and you breathe that energy, and that just attracts it to you. Mm-hmm. It simply attracts it to you. Because it's a vibration, there's no logic. And the thing that's crazy about that is the universe has to deliver it. The universe can't say no, but it does say no. It can't say no, N-O, but it does say no, K-N-O-W. It needs to know from your vibration.
Yes.
Once it knows, it speaks in vibration. So once your vibration, you demonstrate that you've got the responsibility in your vibration for that which you are creating, and it is yours. It's real simple. Unto you it must come. It has to come. But it's, you had mentioned before victims. I have all these guideposts that I teach. One of them is, would you rather be accountable or responsible? Which do you choose? Got to pick one.
Interesting question. Yeah, I've always run with accountable, to be honest, I think.
Wrong answer. Okay? Because when you're accountable, you're answering to someone else. So you're a victim.
Very true.
When you're responsible for everything in your life, you own your power. Now, accountability is a word for your physical reality. That's the way they live in the physical reality. In the spiritual reality, in the non-physical, we live with spiritual responsibility. We have no accountability whatsoever. We have karma. There's no accountability. The accountability comes through vibration. Everything's through vibration. So it's how responsible. And if you're responsible for everything in your life, no matter what comes into it, then you can change it. If you're accountable, then you've got to go to someone else and get their approval. You're seeking outside approval.
I like that perspective.
From an energetic standpoint, you can see which is more powerful.
Oh, absolutely. The responsibility. Yeah. And you're right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always say to people is that, particularly when they step into the program, from this moment moving forward, you are responsible for everything that's taken part in your life, even if you think it happened to you. because you're responsible for now your reaction to that, and you're holding on to that, and you're wanting to still be the victim of it. You're responsible. So you can take that responsibility and say, I'm actually now going to own it, because I can choose to release from that set of stored emotions, from that, I'm now going to hold the blame. I'm going to hold, and I'm not going to forgive, and I'm not going to do these things. You're now responsible for how you choose to see that event. And do you choose to stay attached to the event and the emotion that you stored against that event, or are you choosing to release and move forward?
Right. With energy around it. Yeah. It's balanced. It's balancing out the vibration of it. And if the vibration has any, people in the physical are so into judgment. It's a term I use all the time is measurement. They're in measurement. He has more, he has less. They have in vibration. There's no measurement. There's just vibration.
Yep.
You'll just feel the difference.
Yeah, I talk about comparison and competition, which is measurement. Yeah, how am I comparing myself to someone else? Am I, and therefore am I trying to compete against them?
Right, measurement is judgment.
Yes, correct. That's right. Yeah,
blame, shame, and guilt. They all go together. They're all in the same, packed in the same little car running down the street.
So let me ask from a slightly different angle, because I agree absolutely 100% with this conversation about where we want to get to. How does somebody go through a process of recognition? Like, so yes, blame, shame, guilt, right? So people are living with that. People are living with measurement and judgment. So, what are some of the things or ideas that you would actually get people who, if they're listening to this, go, wow, I can now see or recognize, or out of this actually start to get some awareness that maybe that's the space they're living in?
I'm sorry, say that. It's the space they're living in. Well, I would see it, or they see it, so they can see it.
So someone goes, okay, Bill and Steve, I hear about this great new world of living in vibration and being able to come from love, and how I need to move forward. What I don't understand, though, is how would I even recognize where I am today? How would I go through gaining that awareness that maybe I am living in the world of blame, shame, guilt, that I am living in the world of measurement? Because as you said, people have blind spots, right?
Well, people are. I mean, it's like, look, here's what people are doing. Everybody's focused on getting to death safely.
I love that. Yes, not in a hurry. They're trying to get to death safely, slowly. So it's like a slow, painful death. But I like what you say. Yes,
it's true. And what we call life is wrapped up in the things outside of you. Yet the thing that really matters to you are the people that you love, that you don't see, that you're not communicating with on an intimate basis, that you don't have true connection with. You're with them. You're there. Oh, I love you. I love you too. We never go to bed without saying I love you. We say I love you when it's in the morning. But the energy of love isn't there. The concept is. I deal with this all the time. And they're living in these other stories and walking around and fine. How are you? And when you learn authentic connection and the ability to say, look, we all only have one thing in common, and that's how we feel. So I feel really excited and frankly humbled in a way to be on your show and sharing this, because this information is so amazingly powerful and can change somebody's life. And if one person hears one thing, makes one little difference in their life, then all this time was worthwhile to me. And to be able to connect and understand and know you, Stephen, is really very nice. But it's about being authentic, right? It's like the conversation I had with this 24-year-old young man who's just screwing up terribly, and taught him about integrity and the vibration of integrity, where he said, I heard my name, but I thought you were talking about somebody else for 20 minutes. He literally said this morning in a meeting with me and his dad. He said, but boy, I've been journaling since we talked, and I see what you're talking about. And you're right. I haven't been doing this. I haven't done that. I haven't done that. I haven't done that. I haven't done that. Not about, he didn't even apologize. We don't want him to apologize. We want him to get his head out of his ass, right? Like, we want him to be in integrity. Otherwise, it's going to destroy his life. This is not this, but the business piece. So to have a conversation like that his dad couldn't even have with him. His dad, and I coach his dad and have for quite a while, but it was just, too difficult to put the wording together to say, man, you're so lost, you're not even on earth, dude. Like, that's what was the message that had to go to him, because it was true. But to be able to have that conversation, he wasn't defensive, and he's now making choices because of this awareness to change it. In fact, I told him I wanted him to come back and handle it karmically, and he really felt good about that. I gave him some assignments that were completely contrary to what was happening, that he's now feeling and doing, so that he can cleanse it himself, and really have himself and feel proud about himself. No intellect, no this, like that's love in action.
Yeah.
It isn't I love you. It's the energy behind everything we think, say, and do that's for the benefit of all involved, regardless of the outcome. The outcome's irrelevant. Once you've shown up with love, you've done the best you can do. And that energy will transcend many, many things. So for people that don't get it, first of all, understand this about love and fear. With love, the more you give, the more you get. With fear, the only thing fear does is causes you to protect or be defensive. That's it. That's the best you can get with fear, is being defensive, along with a lot of suffering. But watch for when you're being defensive. There's nothing to defend. Yes. The day you die, everything you have is going to somebody else. So, I mean, there's nothing to defend. And what you're defending are stories inside you that deal with whether you might be right or wrong. And this is where you're off base. This is where you're not authentic, okay? I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you think about what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to me. I know this to be true. I'm not here for anyone's approval. Nobody needs to pat me on the head and tell me I'm a good boy. What you want to do is pay really close attention, because I'm an expert at this. And I'll teach you things that will just blow your world wide open quickly. The minute you grasp it and play with it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This isn't like, right? This isn't about limited mediocrity, is it, Steve?
That's right. Yeah.
Right? This is the real deal.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, this is exactly where I am in my life now. As you said, you started to get through this point in the last 30 odd years. And if I look back, there's been journeys I've been on, but I would say exactly all that you've spoken about. I'm actually in this space right now. Same as, I'm not here to seek anyone's approval. I'm not here to say anything, great job. I'm just sitting there going, every single day and anything around me, I just live in amazement, and I live in gratitude, and I learn of all the things that I'm still holding on to that are stopping me to continue to progress.
That are creating suffering.
They're actually just tagging me back. So when that conversation pops up and all of a sudden I want to go into defense mode, or I want to go into, I need to prove that I'm really good at my job, or I need to do this, I'm going, that's just something way back in the past that I had to put in as a safety protection mechanism, or I had to play a role in my household, in my school, in where else. I had to put on that actor's hat, which moved me out of integrity with who I truly am from the day I was born.
Who you are, yeah.
That we start with truth this is my view. We start with truth from the day we're born. And everybody else around us actually has a job to move us out of integrity with this truth that we actually have,
Right.
to make them feel comfortable so they can be on their path
Exactly.
to get to their safe death. It's making
So they
that.
feel,
So they
they
want
can
you
feel
to
like they're
fit into
doing
this
okay.
picture. So
Yeah.
this is how you
Yeah.
have to fit in at school. This is how you have to fit in at work. This is how you have to fit in at home. This is how you have
Yeah.
to fit in with your brothers. And now they're all feeling really comfortable. And you're sitting there going, I feel like shit
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Then you get exhausted. Then you get depression. Then you get anxiety. All these things start to kick in because
It's
you are now living everyone else's life, and you think that you have to have this the level of acceptance by so many people, and it's exhausting to play so many roles. And it's
and
like,
there's
cool, I'm getting rid of all that shit now.
something for people listening to this. There's something happening in this conversation with Stephen and I that you're probably not seeing, but it's the forefront of the conversation, and that is our acknowledgement and love for our difference.
Mm-hmm.
The immediate acknowledgement that we are not the same, and we are here to just share who we've become, and I'm here to see Stephen's difference with reverence,
Mm.
because he's right where he's supposed to be. He's in his perfect spot on his spiritual path. That's it. Everybody's different. Let them be different. It's fantastic.
Correct.
There's no Stephen's not right. I'm not wrong. Stephen, Bill's Bill. And what we're sharing with you are truths that we've learned that get to some pretty high levels of truth and vibration. To tell you the truth, when you you look at it, it's like, oh, okay, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
But we love our differences because that's what creates new opportunity, new expansion, new growth, new awareness.
Yeah. And so, yeah, let's talk about an example of that. When people listen to this podcast, the one thing they will never see me on this podcast is try to prove someone else wrong, because
Right.
I have a view. And if anyone's
Right.
listened to the 70 odd episodes all the way through, I've had so many diverse guests, and at no point have I gone, I'm going to counteract with that and we're going to get into debate. If you want those ones, go to your Joe Rogans, go to all the other ones where they're going to sit in these massive big debates about different things. All we're seeing there going is this person is on this journey, and there's some lessons that we can take from this journey. Now, it's up to you. To your point, my motto of this podcast is the right message will hit the right person at the right time.
And will immediately enhance their quality of life.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
It's real simple.
Yeah. Now, there could be people listening to this and go, that episode was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. I hope there's something else there. And you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. And someone else is going to go, oh my God, how do I contact Bill, or how do I contact Steve? Because they had something.
Mm-hmm.
There is something there that I've innately known. Intuitively, I know that they're right. And I want to understand, if you what drug are they on? But it's not a drug. It's a happiness pill. It's an internal happiness journey that
it's awareness. It's an awareness of truth and understanding what really matters most, and having the capacity to choose that path. If you're listening to this and you're a skeptic, okay, get in touch with me. Go to speaktobill.com. Speaktobill.com if you're a skeptic, because I'm all out of skeptics. I've run out. I want more. Bring them on. Because when I show you the facts, your life will change so fast. The people I work with don't even have the capacity to understand how good their life can be. They're like, well, what's going to happen? It's like, look, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a 100% success guarantee. You can exercise it in the first month. That's what's going to happen. That's it. You're not going to learn anything else unless you do that. Real simple. You don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Real simple. Because I can't explain it to you. You don't have the capacity to hold the type of joy that we can talk about. You don't have the capacity to hold the gratitude and all the other amazing things that are available to us in the non-physical world, not the physical world. The physical world is about limitation, lack of clarity, work, and suffering. That's all you get out of physical life. You know, it's in your non-physical that you can just shatter that whole piece and live at a vibration that keeps you in contentment, you know, and really you understand peace, love, and joy. It's very easy to get there. And once you start down the path, you don't turn back, do you, Stephen?
Yeah.
Once you have a taste of it.
I've spoken a few different times. Yeah, there's a couple of things as you talked about, like, you know, having that feeling and putting out that vibration about living a certain life. Like I ran with that. I went with that and I went deeply with it. And I knew what it was like to experience the ability to live right beside the beach and be able to walk along the beach bare feet and have that. I was living in the city. When I go upstairs, look at my balcony, there's the ocean. And within 5 minutes, my bare feet are on the sand. And at this time of the year, it's winter over here. It's 14, 15 degrees Celsius in the water. But I'll walk out in that water and I'll feel exhilarated and I'll feel connected. And I can feel the earth breathing as that ocean breathes in and out through the waves. And I can feel that just tingling into my body. And I talk to people about this all the time. And I can see the finite coloration differences in the sand. And I can hear the variations of birds in the trees as I'm walking along. And when I'm on that beach, I'm just thinking, like, the joyness and the happiness and the presence, and you just tap into that. And you cannot, we both spoke about coming from a Catholic background. And I've moved away from set religions, but you cannot help not stand in that water and just give gratitude and blessings and love and thanks to this creator that sits around us, that gave us this physical life, but also gave us this energetic connection and this soul that actually enables us to just be internally happy. And so when that happens, my day's my day. And it's just nothing can change and nothing can alter that, except for if I choose to allow that to happen. And as soon as you have that awareness that I can choose to react or not react, I can choose to just be here and present. As you said, when you're present, you're sitting in love. It's only when you actually start to project into the future or you're dragging from the past, you start to sit in that fear and you can go, not today, thanks. It's not for me.
You know, rather than reacting, if you take the C out of the word react, take the C out and put it on the front.
Create.
And you create.
Spot on.
It's our choice.
It is. This has been I love the I love not knowing where conversations are going to go on this podcast. As I didn't sort of say this up front, but as you know, there is no questions I have here at all. Like, I don't have set scripts. I don't have set questions. I just go, all right, Bill, let's have a bit of a chat. And this has just gone to some amazing places. My energy coming out of this, because I've been so tapped into what you've been saying and everything else.
Pumped.
Just absolutely pumped. Like my day is just up and running. So I want to really thank you for your generosity of your time. But as I ask all my guests that come onto the show, for the men out there, who are probably sitting in the blind spots, who are sitting in this level of unawareness or sitting in the guilt, shame, blame, what's something that you would say to them, apart from, definitely, was it talkwithbill.com? Is that what we
speak to Bill?
Speaktobill.com. Apart from going to there, which they should do. What's the other message that you would like to put out to them?
Yeah, if you haven't had enough yet, if you're not miserable enough yet, don't do anything. It's misery. Wherever your energy goes, you go. Misery is only going to grow. It's only going to grow. And all it takes is an open-mindedness to pursue, to just play with some of the concepts that we're discussing right now. you get to play with them. I mean, like, really, it's like when people come into my work with me coaching, I get a 30-day money back guarantee. It's a 100% no questions asked. You can have your money back, because I'm not here to convince you. But once you start playing with things, and once you get the proper guidance of what to look at, your life will change so fast and become so good, it'll just blow your mind. The things you can do, the power we have, we didn't get into any of those stories. I can tell you stories that just flip you out of things that have happened that we've created energetically. So it's just a matter if you've had enough. Or if you're good with where you're at, good, just stay there. No problem. It's real simple. Or there's an amazing, amazing world, and you have an amazing gift, an amazing purpose to share with everyone in the world. And, Mark Twain said, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And that's what I teach people. I show people why, and we get to see, and it's so exciting, so exciting. It's really, there's, it's literally priceless. Everyone says that. This is priceless. You just can't put a price on it. That's how good it is. Everybody says that. Because once you have you, then you have the sweetest thing in the world. There's nothing sweeter in this universe than your authentic self, authentically knowing you. So anyway, thanks for having me on, Stephen. I really appreciated it.
No, that's fine, Bill. As I said, I've loved this conversation. It's really aligning with where I'm at. I love having people that I can chat to, in relation to, I love people who are challenging me, but, I love also when I can have a level of reaffirmation about this path I'm on and where I'm on in my journey, seeing where you are with your journey and going, yep, this just feels, as you said, authentically true. It feels authentically right. Putting this message out to the universe for people to come and listen to keep doing the work with the man on the program. And as you said, just show them, give them an indication. But, like you're doing and like I'm doing, they get to see us leading by example. So if we live our true authentic life and they actually watch what's happening with us and how we go about operating our life, someone's going to go, oh, how do I get a taste of that cookie? How do I get to that? And as soon as they ask a question, or if I hear someone go, I could never do that. I love that question. I love that. I'm like, really? Do you want to come over and taste this bit of this pie? Because you can. I can tell you my whole past. I could have told you that I couldn't do this, but it's available to you. And so I love that. So yeah, thank you for your time, Bill. It's been an awesome conversation. I can see definitely you're living your true authentic self, and that's what I love watching men and where they get to. So have an awesome evening. Hope you're going to go and have whatever beautiful dinner it is that you're going to go off and enjoy. I'm not sure what's on the menu tonight. Just let's close out. What's on your menu tonight?
Actually, nothing. I ate earlier.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Well, I'll sign off there. Have an awesome evening, and definitely we'll make sure we stay in touch. Have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, folks. How great was that conversation with Bill? As I said through that chat, and as I said on many times, that I connect with these guests. Yeah, I do a little bit of an upfront chat to see, what conversations we're going to have. That's not scripted. We don't go through that. I just allow now the universe is presenting these beautiful people to us to have these amazing conversations. I'm so aligned with where Bill's at. I can see exactly where I want to head and where I'm going on my path. And as I just said at the end there, it's great to have that bit of a reaffirmation that, we can live these true, authentic lives. We can tap into this internal beauty and happiness, this internal energy and these vibrations, and allow the the universe just to constantly come and actually help us go down this path. So it's been awesome. I think my day, because it's morning here, I'll just be up and about all day now, and that's the energy that I often get when I do these podcast recordings. So I'm going to wrap up there. That's it for episode 72 of the Unearthed Man podcast with Bill. Definitely check him out. All these details will be in the show notes below. Sending you much love and peace, Stephen.